Well, John Farnham's life is going to be told on stage as producers work on a Broadway-style musical about the legend's comeback story.
This is really cool. Here's our entertainment editor, Peter Ford. Hey, Pete, what do we know so far?
Well, we knew this was happening. We knew it was brewing away now for a couple of years. In fact, you've had Michael Cassell sitting there telling you about it. He's the brains behind it, and Gaynor Wheatley is representing John and the family's interests, and of course Glenn's interests as well. So the big change now is they were going to do this musical using John's hits, but the show wasn't actually going to be about John. It was going to be about the Rum Rebellion of 1808. So you would have had Governor Bligh singing You're the Voice. I mean, it sounds dry for a musical. So they've said, scrap that idea.
Yeah.
Now we're going to do John's life in the early 80s. And that's the really interesting time when he was down on his luck. And he's talked about the fact that he couldn't afford to take the family to McDonald's. And then that turnaround when Glenn entered his life and took over his career and going into the Little River Band, then the release of Whispering Jack. Now, next year, that's 40 years. And the plan is to open this musical next year in Melbourne to commemorate the 40th anniversary of Whispering Jack. Now, look there, that's the comeback moment. This was in 1980, and this was the Royal Command performance held at the Sydney Opera House, and the King, Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip were there, and all the big names of the time did it. Helen Reddy, Olivia Newton-John, Peter Allen, and Glenn was trying to get John on. They didn't want him. And finally was Bert who actually said, you know what, I'd really like him to be on it. So they agreed. Everyone else got to do 3 or 4 songs. They said, John, you can do 1 song. And they basically were saying, you're a has-been, no one's interested. He got up and did Help, and everyone said, wow, why have we forgotten about John Farnham? And that was the turnaround. So this will all take place in the 80s, 1980 to 1986. That's the very specific time frame for the musical. So I think it sounds fantastic, and we'll keep you up to date with it as more things are confirmed.
We've got a grab here, I think, Pete.
Yeah, so this is back in 1982, where John's talking with the late Don Lane, and the late Glenn Wheatley is there as well, talking about entering the Little River Band.
It's no longer really, it's not John Farnham and Little River Band, is it? It's Little River Band now.
Yeah. Well, that's the way it should be, I think. I think the only reason that it had any sort of impact was the mere fact that I was an entity in my own right here. The rest of the world don't know who I am. And it's not so important over there. The thing that I do have to do elsewhere in the world is to fill Glenn Shorrock's boots, and they're pretty big boots.
Well, they certainly are. And, you know, we've done great musicals with The Seekers, Johnny O'Keefe, Peter Allen, of course, The Boy from Oz. So I'm sure the John Farnham one is going to be a big hit as well.
Cannot wait. I'm glad that whole Rum Rebellion idea got shelved.
That's sort of Men in Tights.
I know, right? I'm not going to see
Pirates.
that, but I'm first in line for this. A controversial comic might be headed down under, Pete.
Yeah, so just a few hours ago, Rosie ODonnell got onto her Instagram and posted a picture of the Sydney Opera House and pretty clearly indicated that's the picture she put up there on her Instagram, and pretty clearly indicated that she's on her way. Big announcement coming soon. What else could it mean? So what we hope it doesn't mean is that it's a Sydney exclusive just at the Opera House. Now, she has just over the weekend gone to boot a brand new one-woman show called Common Knowledge. She did that in Dublin at the Olympia Theatre, where she now lives in Ireland, of course, and she's then taking it to the Edinburgh Festival. So I say pretty definitely she's going to be bringing that show to Australia soon.
All righty, Pete. Now we've been given our first look at the next Avatar film, yeah?
Yeah, so this looks great. We have to wait till December the 19th. This is Avatar 3. Avatar 4 is still 4 years away. Part of that's already been filmed, but the trailer dropped a couple of hours ago. Take a look.
If there is something you can do, then you must do it. The children. No, Spider. And we will find another way.
Yeah, Avatar, Fire and Ash, December 19, and also the debut of Una Chaplin in the series. Now, some people might know her work from Game of Thrones. She's the granddaughter of Charlie Chaplin, and this could really catapult her into the big time.
Pete, correct me if I'm wrong, but just to that tiny clip we got there, Is that set in the Rum Rebellion?
No, it's definitely not. No.
It looked like it, didn't it? Just at a glance.
Had that
Had that fire.
Yeah.
Good on you, Pete. Thank you, mate. We're back to you again shortly.
The rebellion bit.